to Charlotte Speedway for today's race at BTCC. I'd like to welcome Chris back into the commentary booth with me.
Thanks very much, Rob. Rounds 17, 18 and... No, that's not right, is it? What are we on? 16, 17 and 18 of the iRacing British Touring Car Championship coming your way, but qualifying first of all. And Rob, very, very full grid here.
Yeah, very full grid and greed, to be very packed on the track for qualifying. They're all going to have trying to find a bit of space for themselves to get qualifying, get the good time in.
Absolutely. As the practice session just coming to an end now, we have a whopping 39 drivers in the session, and they're all going to be going out on track in a moment for their qualifying sessions, which will run for 30 minutes, and then 3 13-lap races. Any tips here, Rob? Who do you think is going to go well in the qualifying?
I expect some of the usual guys to be up there, LS and a few others probably, but yeah, it's going to be getting a good run on back straight across the line, and yeah, get turn one, like the turn one's quite tricky actually.
Of course, this is an oval track, which has been converted to a road circuit rather than the road circuit racing we're used to. So half the track, maybe half the track is an oval, and the rest of it is kind of an awkward infield section there. But a very different driving style, Rob, than what we're used to on the road.
Yeah, very much indeed. It's going to take a lot of work here to get the best line, get the best lap time in, get a good qualifying position as well.
And we're just looking 30-minute qualifying session. Remember, 39 cars to go out and qualify on this track, expecting around 1 minute 10 lap times. Oh, and then we see a two-wheeler there from Mr. Adam Terry going out on his out lap there. But very short track for have this many drivers, and it should be an action-packed qualifying session.
Yeah, as you can see, a lot of cars are quite bunched up together here. I expect to try and find their own bit of space and do a really good lap and see how they get on.
As we're looking at the number 10 car there, Yuasa Racing, that's Chris Shaw on his out lap. Perhaps we'll stay with him for a while. And you can just see him picking through the traffic already. And he's gone off into the wall, just coming into the first turn there. So that's going to end his qualifying session for the moment. But he'll be back out on track. And always a danger, Rob, on the ovals, getting out of shape, trying to get around people, especially because these aren't oval cars.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely a problem to get out on this oval track, especially in the pit lane. Exits have been so tight onto the main road. And yeah, you can see there's been a few incidents already in qualifying.
And we're back with the championship leader, who is currently Adam Terry, driving for Dynojet there in a number 1 car. Expecting good things from Terry. He's not been that quick in the practice session, I have to say, and he might well struggle here, Rob.
Yeah, might well struggle indeed. Yeah, he has been doing a bit of practice, but struggling just to find that alternate pace that he's been doing lately.
And these cars really, like I said, not set up for the oval. They're not really an oval racing car as such, but the oval only constitutes half the track here, so it's going to be a mix for these drivers between a setup that's fast for the oval, a setup in which they can slipstream and get past people, and then a setup that's fast in the twisty, turny sections of the infield where it's very easy to lose control and go off.
Yeah, definitely, and also when they join the oval track, it does get a little bit bumpy as well.
Well, of course, we've got a full 30-minute qualifying session here as we just watch Adam Terry just brushing the wall there. Shouldn't hurt his car too much, but it will hurt his lap time. So we're expecting some interesting qualifying times, should we say, that perhaps 109's going to be the best we've got. I think that's a 109.4 is the best we've been seeing so far. So not a lot of drivers, though, that can get into that 109 sort of bracket.
Yeah, I expect a couple of drivers to get in there, and just Cat maybe and a few others, but it's going to be quite a big job to get there.
And currently pole position provisionally is with Koba Lopez, our double race winner from last week with a 109.6, and Mark Fletcher second, Simon Field third, as we still have plenty of qualifying time left. Should see improvements on those times though, right?
Yeah, definitely see quite a bit of improvements. I mean, they've got plenty of time left, 25 minutes to get a decent lap in for the race.
And we've got a few new drivers in this week as well. We've got the likes of Kai Barker, who has joined the league just this week, and Adrian Gibson, who we've not seen out on track before, and a number of others who I'm sure we'll come to in due course. And more people this week more people signing up for the Team Club 44 drive, which is the kind of black and gold sort of colour with the Marshall advertising on it, as we watch one of the eBay Motors cars go around. Oh, and we got a spinner.
Yep,
that's one of the Dyna Jets.
Yep, got one of the spinners there. A lot of cars trying to avoid him.
Well, that's a couple of qualifying laps ruined, I should say, and that wasn't the best place to spin off, I've got to say.
No, and as you can see, everyone's struggling to find a bit of room to get his lap in here. Everyone's letting a few cars go by as well as avoid people off track.
Well, there's cars absolutely all over the place, and as you can see on your screens right now, it's the carnage has already begun, and we fully expect this to continue. But this is British touring cars. What else can you expect?
Definitely British touring cars always bring us surprise. Oh, there's a crash there. Yeah, that was a nasty one on the oval. A few cars involved there.
Oh, and that's nasty. One of the eBays just picking up the back end of that crash there as the drive cool gets into the wicks on the oval, which is not where you want to have a collision, really. Well, you don't want to have a collision anywhere, but if you're going to have one, let's not have it on the oval.
Yep, definitely, because the oval can be quite a bad place compared to driving on the road.
The number 70, another new entry this week, Richie Thorne in the RCIB drive cool livery there, just getting a little bit out of shape, and you can see here on your screen there what we mean by the pit exit. It's so tight, very difficult for drivers to keep in there and actually keep out of the way of the exit from turn 1.
Yep, that's going to be a big problem coming through the race, but I bet a lot of drivers will take it easy and make sure they can get out into a gap and not hit anybody onto the racetrack now.
Qualifying top 3 then unchanged so far. Lopez, Fletcher, Field, Chepalewski with a 110.6 in third, and Dave Grunill not far behind in the 110.7. Fully expected a change, of course, as we see one of the Addison Lees making a move on his teammate almost on the qualifying lap, but 23 minutes to go. It's British touring cars, so anything can happen, but you've got to say, Rob, you fancy Lopez for the pole?
Yeah, definitely Lopez for the pole. He had a cracking pole at Brands and a few other tracks, so I really think it's favourite to get pole again.
And coming off the back of Brands Hatch, the 3 rounds from last week, Lopez took pole for the first race, won the first race, started first in the second race, won that one as well, and then in the reverse grid, of course, started 12th position, and not 12th position, 10th position rather, and came home in second. So that's the best performance we've seen in a 3-round meeting from any driver so far, and it puts him in good stead for this round as well.
Definitely, I mean, the first 2 races, of course, if you get started front, you've got real chances of getting a really good finish position for the race. And then you've got the reverse grid, and it's always a little bit of there.
I'm just watching Damien Harrison come around the oval section here in the Wix Racing machine. He currently hasn't set a hot lap, still plenty of time to do so, of course, but all kinds of carnage going on the infield. And how much of this is the cars not being suited to this track, Rob, do you think? And how much is it the drivers just used to more road-oriented circuits?
Well, it's a bit of both, like I said earlier. You've got part of the road set up, you've got part of the oval set up. Trying to get to the wood, they're quite tricky.
Absolutely, and of course there's no real barriers or hard demarcations on the infield section, so it's very easy to go off the track, accidentally cut a corner, get yourself a black flag and a slowdown penalty, or go off the track wide and have to spend a good 10 seconds maybe getting back on the track as well.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. It takes them a while to get back on track and make sure they don't avoid anyone else's lap that's getting a good time as well, so that way at least they can get a decent lap in and hope others can get a good lap at the same time without avoiding each other.
And Harrison now looking to come around the oval section. It's almost a full lap of the oval here, a very long oval section. Those drivers brave enough will try the very low wing settings to try and get the maximum speed here. 1 minute 5 on the clock so far. He's looking for a 1:10 to put him in good stead on the grid, and he comes over the line in a Wow, it's not great. It's 113.9, and Damien Harrison will be looking to do better there.
Yeah, definitely. He's still got 20 minutes left of qualifying here, trying to get a decent lap in. Hopefully some of the others get some good laps in as well.
And one of the guys last week not finishing very strongly at all is the eBay Motors of Ellis Stevens, who unfortunately disconnected in the first race, put him to the back of the grid in the second race, fought his way back and couldn't really get much grip, but came home in 7th place in the third race. But he'll be looking to improve on this on that performance this week, Rob.
Yep, definitely. Really want to improve to make sure he's in contention there. And you can just see him there trying to exit pit lane, and there seems to be a little bit of blockage going on there.
Oh, and we got a car backwards. That's the RCIB of James Hickson, I believe, just causing a pit lane exit blockage, as you say. And Ellis, of course, running second in the championship at the moment. He's now 20 points adrift of the leader, Adam Terry. And we're about halfway through the season here, so plenty of time to make it up, especially if Terry doesn't do quite so well here. But any chance for you, Rob, of Stevens taking this race or any of the races tonight?
I can see Stevens probably taking one race at least, yeah. Yeah, definitely. But they're going to be some good competition out there, especially between Lopez as well.
So Stevens at the moment is a 110.8, and he is the highest qualifying eBay Motors driver at the moment. Of course, that might change with 19 minutes left. Adam Terry, your championship leader, is currently down in 13th position with a 111.5. More work to do then if he wants a strong start in this race, but like we always say, anything can happen.
Yeah, we're just watching him now, see what sort of laps we can do. I think he's not having a great lap this lap, but hopefully he can work on that progress and get towards the front.
Yeah, and you notice here from Charlotte, there's some cloudy weather at the moment. How is that going to affect the setup and the handling of the cars?
It will set up quite a bit, and especially the weather as well. That's a big factor in this type of race as well. As long as they can get those tyres warmed up in qualifying and on the warm-up lap, they should sort of warm up after a couple of laps in the race.
It's turn one though, isn't it? That's the big deciding factor in a lot of these races, with 39 cars going through one corner, and it narrows significantly as well off the oval. That could be one action-packed start, right?
Yeah, it's a very tight corner, and turn one will be very tricky, and I expect a lot of drivers, hopefully, will take it a bit cautiously to try and get in there and out of it in one piece.
And it's the combination really of cold tyres and low wing setting that mean that the back end of the car is not going to be where you think it's going to be, and when you plant that pedal it's going to go sideways and not forwards.
That's right. I was invited along to a little practice myself, and I was in the same situation, being very tricky in that. But hopefully, when they've been the tyres up, be a bit cautious about it on the first couple of laps, they should be right after that.
Adam Terry then coming towards the start-finish line, using the apron there to get... Oh no, he's coming in. He's coming in. He's not going to set a time here.
Yep. I was just resetting the car. He's come back out again now.
Terry then obviously not happy with his setup. He's got 17 minutes to improve on his setup and give it another try. Meanwhile, Andreas Katz is up to 5th place, ahead of Richard Wilde in 6th, and Dave Grunnell has been pushed down to 7th.
Yep, she's got Andreas here. He's behind another car and then trying to get by. There's a bit of traffic on board there.
110.6. I mean, any driver that's getting in the 110s here for me is potentially a race winner. We've seen a lot of changes at the front of the field in these kinds of races, and Richie Thorne, who we were concentrating on a little bit before, is just at the bottom end of the 110s at the moment, so top 11 drivers are running 110 lap times. And that Wix Motors car ahead of Andreas Katz looks to be getting in the way, but then the flip side of this is that it's giving him a nice tow down the oval section. Oh, and the Wix car's gone straight on.
Bit of an accident there.
Oh, well, that's Katz into 2. Oh, and he's rolled over as well. That's terrible. He's got caught from behind by one of the Dynojet cars, and just taken out 2 Addison Lee cars and ruined that Dynojet car and the eBay car.
Yeah, quite unfortunate bit of accident there. they're always trying to find a bit of space in the track to get a good lap time in.
So at 1:10.6 it stays for Andreas Katz. Meanwhile, Stelian Chepalevsky, who is now driving for Addison Lee Racing, is up to 1:10.3 here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, taking third place on the grid with about half of the qualifying session done. That's a good time.
Yep, very good time indeed. 1:10.3 so far. He's doing another lap now. Let's see how he gets on there.
And we've got 36 drivers total setting qualifying times so far. They run the gamut. Everyone is welcome in this league, of course, so we've got very good drivers down to slightly slower drivers, but everyone here taking part for the fun rather than the prizes, of which there are none in this championship, of course.
Yep, we've just got 15 minutes left of qualifying to go, and everyone's still jogging around for position on track, set their lap times.
So still head of the field then with a 109.6 is Koba Lopez, who we saw to win 2 of the races last week, and Mark Fletcher, who only joined the championship last week as well, is in second place, about a tenth behind, and Chepalevsky is taking third at the moment, Field 4th, Katz 5th, Wild 6th, Grunhill 7th, and McCarron with a very impressive time is in 8th place.
Yeah, you see them all trying to get out pit lane here. Lopez goes back out on track, trying to set a lap time. Oh, there's a KX momentum car behind as well.
Not getting in Lopez's way just yet, but expecting very fast times from him, but it's going to be a case of, for all of these drivers really, keeping it out of trouble, at least on the opening laps, trying to build up a little bit of a lead. But of course with the drafting on the oval, it's a harder proposition to build up a lead than it is on a tight twisty track.
Yeah, I mean some of the drivers probably get close together on the nice twisty bit, by the time they get to the oval section, they might get a nice toe actually and get a good lap time in.
And Lopez off on the grass there, not the best outlap for him. It is just an outlap, so it won't matter too much. No damage on the car there, so he's free to carry on.
Yeah, that's probably the tricky section of the course actually, that tight bit where all the dirt goes in the air and everything. Hopefully he's back on track now and just letting a couple of cars by to hopefully they don't spoil their laps and get going again.
Another new entry this week is Jerome Kaiser, who is driving for Dynojet in the number 64 car. We haven't seen him out on track. He's currently running in 16th position and looking pretty good halfway up the field.
Yep, with him now we are. He's going around the infield section. Looking for a good lap in a minute now.
And you'll see, as these cars go around the infield section, you'll see some of these twitching just as they go out the corners, maybe losing the back end very slightly. These drivers generally have it under control, but that's the low downforce that these guys need to run for that oval section, because you could lose up to a second just on the oval from having too much downforce.
Definitely, and a second can mean the difference between a couple of places to 10 or 12 places on the grid, so it's always very important to get a good time in and make the most of it.
And we're seeing invalid for the team name for Jerome Kaiser. He's such a late entry into the team list. We didn't manage to get his Team Dynojet label up there, so apologies to you, Jerome. But let's see how you do on this lap.
Yeah, we just set a personal best there, 111.353, which just hit the wall. But at least he got a lap in.
He did get a lap in, and unfortunately that's moved him down. In the meantime, his time's better, but he's been moved down due to some of the other drivers moving up. And Terry now up to 11th place ahead of Stevens, the number 1 and 2 in the championship. Terry 11th, Stevens 12th.
Yeah, a few cars just coming into the exit the pit lane now. Toes coming back out on track. They got 11 minutes left on the clock.
Yeah, and Andreas Katz is currently running in 5th position behind Simon Field, so the top eBay Motors driver in 5th position. That's an alien position for him. He's usually up at the front.
Yeah, he's usually up at the front, and he's probably finding it a little bit tricky. This track is taking a little bit of getting used to, and with all this traffic, it's probably caused a few problems to a couple of the good drivers out there.
Of course, Katz is no slouch, so he'll be looking to make up as many positions as possible in the race if he does end up starting from 5th. Simon Field is a chap who had a very disappointing Brands Hatch outing last week, going off on the very first corner of the very first race and then having to recover throughout the other 3 races, coming home in 5th in the final race in the end, scoring himself some solid points, but coming away slightly dejected and wanting to make up for it. And what better way than to start 4th on the grid here?
Yeah, he just did a 1:10.6, his best is 1:10.4, so he should hit the wall there. But he's ran about nearly his best time.
Big damage on the front of that Wix Racing car, and of course coming out of the turn 1, if you get a little bit, shall we say, tail happy at it sideways, you're going to be into that big yellow barrier on the outside, and that will be the end of your race.
Yeah, definitely. You really got to use this car really well and keep it in good condition, so you should get some good results in the race, because you don't spend too long pit road getting it paired, and you only got, is it one pair you get this race?
Actually, I believe the drivers have unlimited repairs, but more to the point, I suppose, is the fact that it's going to be a 15-minute race well, 3 15-minute races, and once you go in the pits, there's just no chance of getting a good position.
Yeah, definitely. A couple of minutes in the pits can ruin the race altogether.
And I've got to say right now, the top 3 drivers, Lopez, Fletcher, Chepelevsky, are all new entries last week into the championship, so that just proves what strong competition has been coming into the championship over the last few weeks. Chepelevsky, who's currently running in 3rd, is on a 1:10.3. Oh, and a bit of action there as Field gets sideways on the track. Chepelevsky's just coming over the line now to complete his lap.
And he just went fast as well, 1:10.2.
It has improved his time, but in the meantime, Andreas Katz has taken that 3rd place away from him, moving up 2 places on the grid. He's now 1:10.0. So Chepelevsky has been pushed down to 4th, and Field has been pushed down to 5th. I can't say numbers tonight for some reason.
Yeah, we've still got 8 minutes left on the clock to get this qualifying out of the way, and it's looking really tight at the top. Lopez leading the way, Fletcher in 2nd, Katz in 3rd, and Chepelevsky in 4th, with Field being out the top 5.
Coming down a bit further in the field then, Terry is currently in 7th place with Stevens in 8th, so they've moved up a little bit. That is the top of the championship battle at the moment. Terry number 1 in the championship, Stevens 2nd. Grunhill's 9th, McCarron's 10th. Janowski, who is another new entry last week, is in 11th, and going down from there, we're up to 14 drivers now on a 1:10 lap.
Yeah, it's getting very close at the top there. A lot of the drivers are separating themselves by a couple hundredths of a second or so, and it could be quite an interesting battle for the last couple of minutes. A few drivers could slot around quite quickly.
And what we saw last week as well was on the very, very last qualifying lap, Richard Wilde slipped himself into a very good qualifying position that we weren't necessarily expecting. So he is a late breaker in the qualifying game, shall we say, and he's 6th at the moment, but that could well change. So Terry unable to improve on his 1:10.7 and is still in 7th place. He won't be too disappointed with that, of course. Plenty of time to move up in the grid once the race begins. 13 laps around here then, Rob. Not a great deal of time to take many positions, but with the carnage that could ensue in lap 1, who knows?
Yep, definitely. I mean, I personally think that if you just take it easy with a couple of laps, you may find a couple of drivers going off. You could gain a couple of places easy enough straight away, and then you might put yourself near the front and challenge in the front there.
And Dave Grunhill taking the 3rd spot away from Andreas Katz with a fantastic 1:09.987. He's the 3rd driver to go in the 1:09 category there, and Katz is pushed down to 4th.
Yep, Katz down to 4th. There's quite a lot of drivers putting their fastest lap time in, and we've just got 6 minutes left to go with the qualifying session.
So not long at all now, and don't forget 3 races coming for you live tonight on BSR TV from Charlotte Motor Speedway, the road course, and they are all 13 laps each. Reverse grid will be in place for the 3rd race, don't forget, so that means that whoever's going to be winning the 2nd race is going to be down in 10th, which always results in interesting racing. The man we haven't mentioned too much of, considering he's in 2nd place on the grid, is Mark Fletcher in the Rockstar liveried car there. He's on a 1 minute 9.7, still about 1/10 of a second off Koba Lopez, who is on pole, and coming into the championship last week, doing very well for himself last week as well, grabbing a good haul of points, and he's now looking to grab even more out of this race if he can maintain that 2nd place.
Yeah, he's just starting to level up now. A little bit of traffic trying to get out of the way there, but yeah, he's doing a good job at the minute since joining the lead, and he looks set to do another great race here as well.
And it's worth mentioning that before Brands Hatch, Lopez was obviously not classified because he wasn't in the championship, and after one meeting I should say, taking almost maximum points, he's now up to 9th in the championship already. He could capitalise on that even more depending on what the other driver... Oh, did we just see Fletcher off into the wall there? He could capitalise on that even more depending on how he does today, but can you see anyone getting round Lopez during the race?
Maybe. I mean, Fletcher looks like he's doing quite a good job, but I think Lopez really just has it ready to actually get to finish and win this thing. That's what I'm putting on to win this race.
And a man who was very disappointed last time out at Laguna Seca, who was championship leader for a while, Ignacio Pinella for eBay Motors, the number 8 car. He is currently down in 36th place on the grid with a 113.6. Obviously not happy with his setup this time, and that's really going to hurt his championship, Rob.
Yeah, definitely going to hurt championship quite badly, especially some of the other drivers get ahead of him and gets good haul of points. He really needs to keep going to maintain his position in the championship.
And Pinella, of course, missing Brands Hatch, which didn't really help him get any points at all, of course. But yeah, really surprised to see him struggling in Laguna Seca. Obviously, drivers have their own personal favourites. Brands Hatch is a favourite of a lot of drivers, but hard to see that this would be a favourite for many of these drivers.
Yeah, definitely. Even myself, I like the track, but other people have their favourite tracks, and Brands is definitely one of a lot of people's favourites.
Also returning this week is Laura Bond for KX Momentum, currently on a 113.3, which puts her in 19th position on the grid. About midway down the grid, she won't be too disappointed with that, and looking to score a good haul of championship points today. Going to need to make up a few positions, but certainly not out of the question.
Yeah, definitely Laura's doing quite well in it, and she should just sort of get herself just ahead of midfield a bit. She might be able to survive the first lap and get some good points today later on board.
A big gaggle of cars ahead of her on the field as well is not gonna, on the track rather, let's hope it's not on the field, is not going to help a qualifying case unless she can get on the slipstream, and she almost comes into the back of that eBay Motors car just up in front of her.
Laura's best lap so far, 111.344 on the oval section now, trying to go about to get across the start finish line and start another lap. We've just got under 2 minutes left to go now.
And big news, Nick McCarron is up to 3rd position in the qualifying after struggling earlier today. He's on a 109.965, which takes him ahead of Dave Grunhill and pushes Andreas Katz down to 5th position.
Yeah, not long left now, and a lot of people are going to put in their probably best laps towards the end of the race, well, the end of this qualifying, excuse me. Yeah, but there's a lot of traffic on the track at the minute, and a lot of people trying to find their own space still.
We now got 15 drivers in that 1 minute 10 bracket.
One car went up on 2 wheels there, went off the track. I don't know who that was, but yeah, a lot of people pushing hard now.
Just a minute left then, so anyone who's not already out on the track won't be setting any more qualifying times now. I think it's 38 cars. Let's double check that. 38 cars setting qualifying times here. I'm sure all of those will be starting this race in just a few minutes' time. And that's going to be one interesting first corner, I've got to say.
Yep, definitely. I can't wait to see what happens. Hopefully everyone takes their time and gets through it in one piece, because we know what happened in the last race, and I really hope everyone gets into a good race and steps into a good rhythm to get a good battle going on.
Yeah, absolutely. Nothing like seeing 38 cars go through a corner cleanly, but it's unlikely to happen, you have to say. Qualifying then coming to an end, unless there's any very last minute changes here. Koba Lopez takes pole with a 109.5, Fletcher second, McCarran third, Grunhill fourth, Katz fifth, Chepelewski sixth, Simon Field is in seventh, championship leader Adam Terry can only manage eighth, Ellis Stevens ninth, Richard Wilde is 10th.
Yeah, and Lopez done really well there, and there's a few others up there. Katz still up there, Grunhill's up there. Should sign up for a really good race there. Terry's got a little bit of work to do, but I'm sure he'll get there after a couple of laps.
Fantastic. And 3 races, don't forget, coming up here on BSR TV. The first of which will be starting in just a moment. So if you are watching live, don't go anywhere. We'll do the work. It will reload your stream for you. And we will be back in just a moment.
Chris Gohan 2. Off air.